Good afternoon, everybody. It's Dave here on this Thursday, June 12th, 2025. I have all of your stories for your rush hour ride home. And on today's episode, we got a bunch to talk about. Bachelorette Michelle got married. I'm going to share the exclusive photos with you guys from People Magazine. And then I've launched my website. I haven't announced it to anybody, so you're going to get a first look at it. It's got all my information in one place, which will be really great to get going, get on the road, more stand-up, more seeing you guys. I can't wait. And then we got this real plane crash, sad story that came out of a flight in India where one person survived. What a horror story that is. And then more on, speaking of celebrity horror stories, Justin Baldoni versus Baldoni-Lively, as a lawyer, a friend of the program, Omar, is in the Daily Mail saying he thinks this thing could go to an appellate review. And also, we've got Justin Baldoni's lawyer, Brian Friedman, speaking to Megyn Kelly. I know, hold on, we're going to get through it. And then an ICE rollback, as it appears Donald Trump is rolling back some policies that might slow down the raiding of immigrants from hotels and farms and things like that. I mean, it's a start. We got a lot to get into, all these stories and more. It's happening right now on The Rush. Well, here it is, folks. Bachelorette Michelle. We had a couple weddings this past week. We had Bachelor Zach Shallcross and Katie Bigger, and now we have Michelle marrying a non-Bachelor alum, or I should say not an alum, named Jack. And here they are, a beautiful-looking couple. They've been together for a year and a half now. Of course, her relationship didn't quite work out with, what's his face? Yeah, that's the point, right? No, what's his name? The tall guy. Anyhow, Nate. That's right. We love Nate. Nate Babatunde. We love Nate. He was a guest of the show, and but it didn't work out, and Nate's happy doing his own thing. But Michelle found a man, and there they are, of course, all the lovely guests, beautiful greenhouse-like wedding ceremony. He dips her nice and low. They got all the celebrity, I'm sure some friends of the show were there, but anyhow, congratulations. And then I wanted to shout out my new website, which I've got right here, rushhourwithdave.com. It's got all of my latest YouTube videos automatically loaded up. If you're ever like, where's Dave's videos? I'm not seeing them. Go to rushhourwithdave.com, or if you want to toggle over, you can listen to the audio version. Again, it uploads first. You'll get it there. All the different places to see me. But more importantly, if you want to come to a live stand-up show, I've got my email list here. I promise I will not bother you guys, but if you sign up for the email list, you get a response email, which will share a video with you that tells you kind of my game plans moving forward, not just with the channel, but me, wanting to tour more, perform live stand-up. And, live stand-up always comes with a meet and greet afterwards. We get to talk, and I always share juicy details I can't share publicly. So, or I can't share online, I should say. Website was designed by my friend Patsy Kenny, and you can click the link to contact her if you're looking for any website work or life coaching or things like that. But we'll have more on that later. I'll be updating the merch site, the calendar, and all of that. But I've got clips from comedy and different times where I was, on daytime talk shows and things like that. So you can go click all of that right there, rushhourwithdave.com. Well, here's a sad story we got to jump into. I hate to bring the sad news, but as you know, with the Rush Hour podcast, we got to bring to you the biggest news stories of the day. An India jet crash was caught on camera. I'm not going to show the crash, but the passenger plane crash in a fire explosion. Hundreds were killed. And the update is that there is one survivor. BBC News reports a single person is believed to have survived the crash. Get this, they released his seat number, 11A. That's the lucky number, very Final Destination style here, where you've got just one person surviving. Vishwash Kumar Ramesh. He's, I guess, he's a British citizen, and he said he noticed a loud bang when the plane was taking off. So just terrible. A London-bound Air India plane, 242 souls crashed moments after departure Thursday. So our hearts, our thoughts and prayers go out to the family and friends of those that were lost on that flight. Just really sad. A whistleblower actually last year talked about this Boeing plane. Boeing's had a problem. Plane crashes do happen, but there has been, I don't know if it's shoddy workmanship or cheap parts. I have no idea. But if we find out from the black box what went down with that crash, we will let you know. And by the way, this is not a good story I'm about to share with you. FEMA's national response I guess like CEO has announced his of retirement, which is not good for those who want accurate responses to disaster situations.
CBS News has learned the head of FEMA's National Response Coordination Center, a position responsible for the government's response to storms, submitted his resignation letter on Wednesday. Jeremy Greenberg will formally depart the agency in 2 weeks, and current FEMA officials tell us he'll be, quote, a significant loss and irreplaceable. Another said, quote, I don't see how FEMA will find someone who can coordinate with national, state, and local emergency organizations like he did.
Now, I'm not saying that they won't find somebody, of course, but, this is where you really need unlimited competency from the top, to organize disaster relief. Sometimes when days, mean lives, right? Lives are on the line. You need to get them water and housing and electricity, and, you need electricity for the hospitals and whatnot. Now, we've seen the politicization of FEMA, that being, the federal government gets to decide, the executive branch, when they're going to give it to one place versus another. And we've seen instances where people, they don't, there's no time for that conversation, that politicization. If there is a disaster, it is nobody's fault, whether it be hurricane or fire or flood or tornado. So hopefully they can replace that person, and hopefully, we don't have to see in the near future, at least, the results of what might come from FEMA not having the efficiencies they need to operate. Well, we have a couple of Justin Baldoni stories to get into today. The first being, without a crystal ball, she's offered a correction to a previous story. She shared a story which we've shared, so I wanted to offer this correction, where Colleen Hoover was working with Justin Baldoni, and she's saying that's wrong. Now, Colleen Hoover wrote the book, It Ends With Us. Justin Baldoni owns the rights to the book, and of course it was super successful and led to a gigantic meltdown. His defamation suit against Blake Lively was dismissed, $400 million, which was a significant blow to him. But the reporting that they are working together ain't happening. So here's what Without a Crystal Ball had to say. Correction on a previous story about Colleen Hoover and Justin Baldoni being best friends. Colleen getting in touch with Justin to reconcile. The narrative, according to an insider, is false. Justin and Colleen were close friends for 5 years. The relationship between the two is over. There is no going back. She turned her back on Justin after praising him for 5 years. The source alleges that Blake made a lot of promises to not only Colleen Hoover, but the entire cast. In the case of Colleen, Blake brought Colleen into the editing process and made promises about hopes for a sequel. And yeah, I'm sure Colleen hitched her wagon to Blake Lively, thinking that might be the best route moving forward. And she's, learned that she's kind of in a no-win situation, other than, the win would have been maybe staying quiet and letting justice play out, or not, ditching the guy you spent 5 years supporting. But again, we'll have to see. She's not gonna. I don't think this works out well for her in any way. I wanted to share this. Because our good friend of the program, Omar, was featured in a Daily Mail story. I thought this was interesting. Fatal blow that destroys Blake Lively's case and means she may be days away from giving up. Now, that's some hyperbole considering Blake Lively just won this massive she didn't win the lawsuit, but the fact that it was dismissed was a win for her side, right? But now we are hearing, and I guess this is from Omar, our good pal, what he had to say. I don't think this will be over anytime soon. I think we have a long way to go. Now, we know that, but the idea being that Judge Lehman, after dismissing the defamation and extortion claims with prejudice, meaning they cannot be simply amended and refiled, I guess the idea is that because he dismissed it so early, there might be a chance to appeal it. Omar believes that Lively's harassment case against Baldoni is weak, undermined by a torrent of text messages, emails, videos, and conflicting statements made by others on set. I think a lot of people share that same sentiment. He said, I'm grateful, let's continue to what he had to say regarding if this thing can be appealed. Top Los Angeles celebrity lawyer Christopher Melcher disagreed, saying Baldoni's case is finished. That doesn't mean Lively is riding high. There's a strong First Amendment and other legal protections for anyone making claims of abuse, particularly claims of harassment in the workplace. I think what this means is we need to change the way we look at claims, right? So if the internet didn't exist, let's just do a hypothetical, and Blake Lively made a claim about Justin Baldoni and she wasn't able to prove it in court, then it would just move on and nobody would know. But just her making that claim is defamatory if it's not true, because then everyone believes it and he gets canceled. So the truth is, we've been too quick to cancel people, and that's kind of on us collectively as an audience. If we weren't canceling people so quickly, then the defamation wouldn't have weight and you would let it play out in court. It's kind of like if you're talking a lot of trash about your favorite baseball team. I love the Red Sox. I love the Yankees. We're going to win. We're going to win. What do? You wait till the game's over and then you see who won. But in the world of public opinion, your thoughts are won or lost based on kind of who fired the louder shot. So again, I'm not blaming the audience here, but I'm just saying, if we take a step back collectively and do a better job of using critical thinking and waiting for the truth to come out, then it wouldn't be so damning to people like Baldoni as he, claims his innocence. But it's good that there are protections for victims, but in cases where that victimization may be abused, then the real victim is the person falsely accused, right? Omar said, I thought Judge Lehman would reserve judgment until the conclusion of discovery, referencing the process during where parties in a lawsuit exchange information and evidence in preparation for trial. According to Omar Serrato, Monday's decision provides Baldoni an opportunity to appeal the ruling. I was surprised. It certainly feels like it may be in danger of appellate review. Again, not a lawyer. We'll have to see if that actually happens. My guess is that would be a long time from now, as there's other lawsuits still going on, but maybe not. Maybe they immediately appeal it. Let's go to Brian Friedman. He has been making his rounds with different media personalities. He was on TMZ, and now he's on Megan Fox discussing the options for settlements and why his side does not see a settlement in sight. Have a listen to this.
What are the chances now, Brian, of a settlement in light of the ruling on her emotional distress claims and the ruling on your defamation and related counterclaims?
Look, from the beginning, the chances of settlement were next to zero when you add the parties that are involved in this. Justin, while he would have liked to get, millions of dollars to compensate him for his damages as a result of the defamation, that was always secondary to showing that there was no sexual harassment. That's it. I mean, when you're accused of something wrongfully, when you have to prove your innocence in order to continue to work, there are very little choices here. So he is going to go all the way and get that adjudication and fight this fight forever.
Can you say that you're already there? I mean, I think there's a very strong argument to be made that he's already won that battle. She's Amber Heard in the eyes of at least half, if not more, of the country. This has been an interesting case because it didn't divide along left-right lines. This is much like Meghan Markle. Blake Lively has managed to unite the right and the left against her. Trust me, I know, because I hear from them.
I first of all, I always argue this. I've got no hate on Meghan Markle. You know what I mean? This isn't a woman bashing thing. I understand people want to contextualize and lump together different cases. This is an Amber Heard. This is a Meghan Markle. Chill out. Let's take a step back. This is a Blake Lively, okay? We need to make sure you don't bring in groups like genders or this or that. Just call it for what it is. Now, of course, Megyn Kelly, she was a practicing lawyer, I believe. Like, she understands the legal system. She knows that it was a high bar for Justin Baldoni to prove defamation. But again, you could argue better off having your case dismissed, entering all this evidence in, showing people what you had, versus not filing it at all.
And I wonder to myself, Brian, whether Justin's already won that victory and whether, as a result, he's interested, if the opportunity's there anyway, in making the litigation just go away now.
I don't think he's won that battle, yet. I think what he's done is he's put evidence out, and he's put truth out, and people have made their own determinations, which, seemingly have only one determination that you can make if you've actually looked at the facts and the evidence. But I don't think he's gotten that moment where, where a court and a jury of his peers say, no, this is not sexual harassment. And I don't think tag the PR team with Melissa Nathan and her team, her team of people that literally have nothing to do with this. They're just, individuals. And Jen Abel, who's been just trashed after, taking her phone. And I think these people want to be absolved on a public level from a jury of their peers.
It's a great point that it's not just about Baldoni. While he might be the big figurehead here, Jen Abel, like all these different folks that exist out there, their lives and their livelihood are on the line here. They all want this thing to run through a jury to prove their innocence. So yeah, I understand the question by Megyn Kelly, like, didn't he win enough? Is this a safe time to bow out? And also, who's going to settle with who? At this point, Blake Lively's not going to pay him to settle. He's certainly not going to pay Blake Lively to settle. This thing's going to court. All right, coming up next, speaking of court, we have some crazy stories to get into, including somebody who framed a witness and accused them of a death threat, also that they would get deported. It's a wild story. Stick around for that coming next. One of the issues with the immigration that's happening out there, people getting rounded up off the streets, is that the government, as in their effort to just deport people and get them out, they're not even seeing the fraud that's happening right in front of them. Listen to this.
So this guy who is actually on trial for a crime basically tried to trick the Trump administration into deporting the witness who would testify against him. That's what happened. And the Department of Homeland Security appears to have fallen for it.
What? She said, wait, what? Yeah, check this out. Unbelievable.
But surely the Department of Homeland Security is running like a swish swatch, right? Well, last week, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem sent out a press release claiming that ICE had arrested a, quote, illegal alien who threatened to assassinate President Donald J. Trump.
Yeah, here's the problem. They're so anxious to show their work, to show that they're doing something good, that they're just taking evidence without vetting it and sharing it. So this guy tried to frame another guy and wrote a letter on behalf of him as like a death threat. And then luckily the local police did their investigative work.
It included an image of a handwritten letter, a threat letter that you can see on the screen there, that was sent to the president. Noem claimed that letter was sent by an undocumented immigrant in Milwaukee named Raymond Reyes. But it turns out local law enforcement officials did not think Ramon Reyes sent that letter. In fact, they think that Reyes was being set up.
So they were able to actually show that the letter wasn't even written by him. And the problem is, I wonder if Kristi Noem even cares what's true or not, right? They just want some plausible deniability. We got some evidence, lock this guy up, send him out, be gone with him. This is just so sloppy what's going on out there. Now, of course, with the immigration issue, Stephen Miller, this bonehead kind of crazy, dude, I got to be careful which words I use. He wants to deport 3,000 people a day. Terry Moran, formerly of ABC News, called him out, and then ABC fired him as a reporter for offering his opinion. Have a listen. This is what he's doing now.
Hello, everyone. I'm Terry Moran, and for almost 28 years, I was a reporter and anchor for ABC News. And as you may have heard, I'm not there anymore. I'm here with you on Substack, this amazing space, and I can't wait to get at it, to get at the important work that we all have to do in this time of such trouble for our country. I'm going to be reporting and interviewing and just sharing with you and hoping to hear from you as well.
Now, look, I think it's so ridiculous that when you get canned from the mainstream media, you have to go to Substack or YouTube or podcasting. But you know what? Better late than never, Terry. This is the world where you can do your work. This is it. ABC was bending the knee to Trump because they're owned by Disney, and I don't know if, Trump sued 2020, and ABC caved and didn't defend themselves. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous what's happening out there. So if you have a political spine, go independent and show the world. Absolutely. Here's an interesting act of rebellion. ICE agents let a man go after the community community members intervene.
New dramatic video of one of at least 3 ICE raids in Downey Wednesday morning that shows a man on the ground next to his bike surrounded by federal police. But community members film the attempted arrest, and after calling out the federal agents in masks, the man is let go.
We got another. No, you guys have a good day. This is some that you guys are doing and you know it.
Good on her. She said, no, you guys have a good day. Yeah, I mean, look, I wish there were more cases like this where there was justice being, where this I call it street justice, but really people coming together and saying, no, we're not going to let you just round up a guy on his bicycle. And by the way, I'll end on this other story here, but here's Donald Trump saying that maybe we shouldn't be deporting farm and hotel workers. Duh. How the hell did they not have this worked out beforehand?
Peter?
Thank you, President Trump. I have two. First, on immigration. What made you change your mind about targeting in California farmers and people in the hotel and leisure business?
Well, we're not targeting. In fact, if you look today, I put out a statement today about farmers. Our farmers are being hurt badly by, they have very good workers. They've worked for them for 20 years. They're not citizens, but they've turned out to be, great. And we're going to have to do something about that. We can't take farmers and take all their people and send them back because they don't have maybe what they're supposed to have, maybe not.
I mean, does he not realize that this is literally all of the hardworking immigrants? You're seeing, basically the trope that they used to say was, oh, they don't want to get a job. Then how come you're rounding them up at Home Depots where they're trying to get a job? Oh, they don't want to do this. Well, how come you're going into churches? How come you're going into all of the organizations? How come you're going to the immigration courts where they're actually trying to get processed? It doesn't mean you're just going to start giving everybody citizenships like you're Oprah Winfrey. Everyone gets a look under your chair. You get it. No, it's about tracking people, putting them on the path to citizenship, logging them through the system so we know who they are. So there's less crime, more ability to get money on the books, pay taxes, and live a normal life. Like, these aren't people that want anything but the life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. This is what literally built the fabric of our democracy. And I hate that so many people are closed off where it has to affect a family friend. It has to affect their community for them to see it play out and not realize that every piece of food you put into your mouth is touched in one way or another by an immigrant, whether it's legal or illegal or undocumented, right? They're part of our workforce. They're part of our economy, and they're part of the beating heart of America. And find the ones that are the bad apples. Get them out. Let them have due process. Get them out. And then find a path to citizenship or a way to have, the livelihoods restored for the rest of them. Unbelievable stuff. Let's end with this. Senator Rand Paul says enough is enough. He feels so disrespected because he was uninvited from the White House picnic. I can't believe this.
My son and daughter-in-law and grandson are coming up because we were going to the White House picnic, but I've just been told that I've been uninvited from the picnic. I think I'm the first senator in the history of the United States to be uninvited to the White House picnic. The White House is owned by the taxpayers. We all are members of it. Every Democrat will be invited. Every Republican will be invited, but I will be the only one disallowed to come on the grounds of the White House.
There it is, folks. Uninvited from the White House picnic. Amongst all the other protests, the Marines being, used for domestic purposes, the 40% increase in net worth in 3 months using a fake crypto scam. But he draws the line right here at being uninvited from the company picnic. All right, that's going to be it for me. We'll be back in the morning. Again, link in the comment section or the description if you want to check out the website where you can sign up for stand-up shows. I got 4 shows coming up in New York City, and I've got a sign-up sheet for Boston, Atlanta, Chicago, and other places. You'll find that rushhourwithdave.com. Don't forget to leave us a nice review. We've been review bombed. People are trying to cancel our channel. Why? I have no idea. But if you could leave a nice 5-star review and keep sharing that love. We'll see you in the morning. I'm Dave Neal, and this is The Rush.